Let's start the video. So in this one we'll see how we can plot or map the bracelet or the wrists. So we need to find a lot of stuff in this, like angles and position the bracelet. So let's see. Okay, so let's get rid of it. Let's just remove this previous code which we have used, and let's discuss about the idea of plotting or mapping that bracelet onto the wrist. So the basic idea came into my mind is like we can take a line, and with a reference to this line we can find the angle of the bracelet as well as the position of the bracelet. Now the main concept is like how we will the main question is how we will get the line, right? So we need at least 2 points to find the line, and those 2 points are the bottom of this middle finger and I think the wrist point. So this whole line can give us the angle, and based on this angle we can shift the angle of the bracelet, as well as if we want to position the bracelet we can use this wrist point. So this is the basic idea came to my mind, and this is what we gonna implement here. So let's see. So let's now start with these 2 points. Let's find out the bottom mid finger point and the wrist point. So let's take vector 3, mid point, and then what we're gonna do is we'll translate the value from normalized points to the point which will lie onto the Unity's coordinate system. So let's get the position, and because we need to map it, so we need a webcam screen dot transform and x and y which we want to map, right? So let's give the x and y. Now in this case, because the indexing starts from here, so let's take the 11th index of which defines the middle bottom finger of bottom point. So let's take it. So it is in the hand dot landmark of 11 dot x and hand dot landmark dot 11th index dot y, and we definitely want to flip it, so it will pass true. Same for the another one which is a wrist point. So let's take it, wrist point. Oops. And so the index for the wrist is I think 0. So let's take this. Yeah, great. Now we have both the points. Now the only thing is we need to find the angle. So to get the angle, we can apply some calculations right here, right? So let's find the slope first. So let's take float, which will store the difference between the y coordinates of both the points. So in this case it is mid finger or mid point y minus wrist point y. Same for the x diff. So mid will take the mid point dot x minus wrist point dot x. Now we have the differences. Now we just need to take the inverse of 10, so which will give us the angle. Okay, so float angle and we'll take just math dot 8 and 2, and we'll pass y's difference, which is y diff, and then x diff. And because we need to scale it, we need to multiply it with 180, and then dot 0, and then divided with pi. So math dot pi. Now this will give some conversion error, so we need to convert it into float, because it gives us the float value. Nice. So we have the angle here, and now we'll see, based on the angle, how we can change the angle of the bracelet in the game object. So now we need a game object where we can plot this stuff. So to do that, like, I have a fvx file which I have already created. You can download it from the link I have given in the description. So just download it, and let's import it in our project. Inside scripts, just drag and drop this fvx file. It is importing now. Okay, cool. Now you have the bracelet available to us, so let's try to drag and drop into the environment. Okay. Okay, now we have it. Let's focus on that, and let's see. I think it is super tiny, so we need to increase the size. To increase the size, just click on that. And I think it is not visible at that side because our camera is at the opposite side. So let's try to shift it a little bit. Okay, gotcha. It is at the top. Let's try to drag it in the middle. Here you go. And let's try to increase the size as well. Great. That is good. Okay, let's also give it some color. Oops. So if you want to give it a color, just click on that, and let's give it blue. Okay, it looks a little bit good, not so much. So we'll see. Like, we can do the decoration part later on. Okay, let's use it into the scripts. Let's load it into the game object. Let's go to script, and at the top define a bracelet. Game object bracelet, and then later let's load it or find it. So inside start, we have this last section here. It will be bracelet is equals to game object dot fine. And we need to find the bracelet, right? So because the name is bracelet over here. We took that, so now we have the bracelet. Now we can set its position and other stuff like angle. Now we have the angle. Let's try to change it a little bit. To change the angle, I think we need to transform the Euler angle. So let's create a vector 3. Maybe angle 2, and then we just take the XYZ new vector 3. So we are like changing the angle on Z axis, so we will not touch anything on X and Y. So let's change the angle here. Let's put it here on Z axis, and then we just need to change the bracelet's angle to that bracelet.transform.Euler angles and provide it angle 2. And yeah, that's it. So let's see how it works. Let's try to run it. Before we go ahead, make sure we have that settings fulfilled. Like, just click on that bracelet and you should mark it as center, because we will be transforming it from its center origin. Now let's try to run it. No, this is not working. Maybe there should be some error. Let's try to debug it. Before debugging, let's remove this drawing which you are getting every time. So to do that, just go to handtrackinggraph.cs and here just comment out this render annotations. It will not run the code for rendering the annotations like those points and lines. Okay, let's go to script. Let's figure out what's going wrong here. So I think we are getting the angles too. Let's try to print it here. Debug.log angle 2. Let's run it. So below you can see we are getting some angles here. Okay, but it is not transforming the angle over here. So let's close this maximize. Okay, let's try to figure out here something is. But why it is changing? The bracelet is here. What is this? So I think we have imported some wrong stuff here. Oh, I got it. Actually, we have a bracelet 1 over here, and I don't know what this one is. So just let's get rid of it. Just delete it. Let's rename it bracelet. Let's start to run it. Oh, it is changing. Okay, nice. So it is changing based on my my fingers points, like these 2 points which are contributing to make a line, and we are calculating this line's angle. Cool. So this is working. The angle is it is able to measure the angle as well. Let's try to set the position as well. Okay, so as we discussed, the points, the position of the bracelet will be the rest point. So let's set it. So we need a vector vector 3, which will represent the position. So vector 3, we can say new position, and then new position will be the rest point. Okay, so we can copy it, I believe, like that as well, like this, and just set it. So further we can modify the new position as well if you want. So let's set the position here, new point, and let's try to run it again. It is setting the position, that sounds good, but it is setting on the Z axis, I think. Let's try to debug it. So click on it, and here you will see this position will change. Let's run it again and see Z is 0 here, and X and Y are changing. The main problem with this model is it does not predict the Z axis very accurately. Even it is not closer to 40 to 50%, so 50% of accuracy. So we can't rely on that Z value, so that's why we are not getting it. We are just using X and Y coordinate here. Okay, so let's make it a little bit bigger. Let's scale it a little bit. And let's shift it a little bit as well. Okay, that's good. Okay, let's try to run that again. Let's see if it works with the specific depth. Great. So now it is visible clearly, and it is large enough to cover our hand or wrist. Now I think we also need to shift it a little bit using some offset value. We need to shift its X and Y value. So if it is here, we need to shift it a little bit down, and if it is here, we need to shift it a little bit left. So let's do it. Let's try to change the position. So new, or maybe we need to change it. So we can do it like this. So new point, sorry, new position dot X. So X, we can modify the X. So what we can do is we can just add some value, like 0.1 is enough, I think. F. And we also, because we need to put it down a little bit, we need to increase the value of Y, and because we need to shift it a little bit left, then we will shift the value of X. So we will subtract it a little bit, and let's take around 200F. So these are some hard-coded values which might not work in all the scenarios, but once we have Z values, I think based on its scaling we can estimate these values as well. So let's try with these values. Perfect. I know it is a bit hard-coded, but yeah, it works. But it sounds like we are drawing a line here. So if I make it a little bit more thicker, Let's do that. And tilt it a little bit from z-axis, not z-axis but y-axis. So to do this we can do something like this. Okay, let's try to tilt the bracelet on the x-axis instead of y. So let's remove this one with 0 and here replace it with 10. So we have angle 10 and we are like tilting the, or maybe we are rotating the x-axis, the bracelet via x-axis. So here we have the angle, we are setting it. Now one more thing we can do here is we can set the position of z position of the bracelet as well. So let's try that. Oops, new position z, and we will set it to negative 0.5. That's it. Let's try to run it. I think this z-axis is still huge, so the x-axis is far more here, so let's try 0.50. Let's try to scale it a little bit, or maybe we can try to tilt it like this instead of this. So we can try 350 here. Let's run it. So we got some, so you can see that it is able to rotate it well and position it as well. So the offset we just set was correct, but the thing is it is not scaling the bracelet according to your hand, right? And that is the main issue you will find with this model. The biggest problem with it, with this model is it is not that good in predicting the z value, z-axis. So there are probably two ways to achieve that, depth estimation, z-axis. One which I would suggest is training your own machine learning model and collecting data and training it for z-axis as well. Another approach would be you can try to estimate the size of this, the whole palm or hand, and then based on this scale you can scale the bracelet as well. So here are the these are the two tips I can give you. If I find time later on, I'll definitely give it a try. So that's it for this one. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.